Shalom, shalom. This is Israel Wake Up. This is our Friday night Q&A class, and it's December the 4th, 2020. We're going to do a moment of silence in regards to our strong one, the Lord of Hosts, and then we're going to go into a prayer, and then we're going to current events. Oh Lord, we come before thee at this time. Lord, we have set this time apart at the beginning of thy Sabbath day that you have given unto us for rest. We are thankful for the knowledge and the understanding that you have given unto us up until this point. We seek thy face on the Sabbath, that you shower us with peace and enlightenment and a sense of togetherness. Oh Lord, we see thine hand in the affairs of the world. We know and understand that what you have spoken in the past will surely come to pass. Turn not thy face from us, but hearken to this plea. Hearken, O Lord, and do. All praises unto you. Okay. Anybody got any current events?
Yes, I do. Shalom. I would just like to say, I don't know if you all saw where Obama, Bush, and Clinton was saying that they would take the vaccine live on TV, right? So not quite understanding what they think that's supposed to mean, or if that's going to change the outlook for everybody to say, oh, okay, they're doing it, so it must be okay. Because with that being said, they also had people that went through the trial base and was saying how sick they were.
Right. And then all they gotta do, they could have Kool-Aid in their vial. For all we know,
Exactly.
They standing up there taking that's another insult to our intellect.
Right. Our intelligence. Right. Yes.
And another thing about that too was that's what I saw is they got something else coming on the scene too. They calling it I can't think of what they called that, but people having long-term effects of coronavirus. They was calling them cruisers or coasters or something. And it says it's starting to happen now where it's got a lot of people having the coronavirus ain't going nowhere. And so they're saying that's all of a sudden over the last couple of weeks they noticed that.
And did anybody else hear that in order to fly that you're going to have to have taken the vaccine?
Yeah, I heard it.
Oh, you heard? Okay. Yes.
Yeah, it's becoming part of the protocol.
Right. And I think Australia is the first ones to go with that protocol.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I heard that. Mm-hmm. Anybody else got anything? Okay. So what we're gonna do right now is open up for Q&A, and anybody have any questions or any comments about anything, or they can mention it now. You had a question, Gladys?
I do have a couple of questions, but I'll ask them in a little bit.
Oh, okay. Anybody else? Okay. Well, I'm going to deal with something I was talking about last night. So, well, matter of fact, I'm gonna play this video. It's from the website that we're dealing with Wednesday night, and it's about the revelation on who Lucifer is compared to who Satan is.
By Christian interpreters to be a reference to Satan. So Christian interpreters believe that Lucifer, the morning star, is Satan. However, while Christian interpreters believe that Satan is Lucifer, the morning star, the Most High never identified Satan with Lucifer. In other words, there is nowhere in the Holy Scriptures, also known as the Old Testament, where Satan is claimed to be Lucifer. In fact, Satan and Lucifer are two completely different beings. The Encyclopedia Britannica, under the heading Devil, says this: in the Old Testament, Satan is viewed as the prosecutor of Yahweh's court, as in Job chapters 1 and 2, but he is not regarded as an adversary of God. In other words, Satan works for God in his court, and he is not considered to be an enemy of God. There's nowhere in the Old Testament, the Hebrew Scriptures, that says that Satan is an enemy of God. We've just read very clearly that Lucifer is the enemy of God, and he wants to be like the Most High God. Satan works as a tempter for the Most High. His job is to test people's faith in the Most High Yah. Sometimes he fails, as in the case of Job. See Job chapter 1 and 2. Sometimes he succeeds, as in the case of King David. See 1 Chronicles chapter 21 and 2 Kings chapter 24 in the Septuagint. 2 Kings 24 in the Septuagint is 2 Samuel chapter 24 in the KJV. Sometimes he is rebuked by the Most High, as in the case of Joshua the high priest. See Zechariah chapter 3. So yes, sometimes the Most High tells him off, just like an employer would sometimes tell off his employee, but that doesn't mean that that person is no longer the employee. Satan is an employee of the Most High. The Most High is his employer. Let us consider the example where Satan succeeded at tempting King David. We will find that he was only doing the job that the Most High commanded him to do. 2 Kings chapter 24 in the Septuagint is 2 Samuel chapter 24 in the KJV. I will be reading 2 Kings chapter 24, verse 1 and verse 10. Verse 1 says this: and the Lord caused his anger to burn forth again in Israel, and Satan stirred up David against them, saying, go, number Israel and Judah. So notice the Lord, which is the Most High God, was angry with Israel. So what did he do? He sent his employee, Satan, to stir up David against Israel, saying, go, number Israel and Judah. You will never find anywhere in the scriptures where the Most High sent Lucifer to do anything. Why? Because Lucifer is his enemy. Verse 10, and the heart of David smote him after he had numbered the people. And David said to the Lord, I have sinned grievously, O Lord, in what I have now done. Remove, I pray thee, the iniquity, which is the sin, of thy servant, for I have been exceedingly foolish. So Satan tempted David just like the Most High told Satan to, and Satan succeeded. Satan was just doing his job. Yet, our Christian slave masters have taught us to curse Satan. Let us turn to Ecclesiasticus chapter 21, verse 27. Ecclesiasticus is also known as Sirach, and it is in the Apocrypha. Chapter 21, verse 27. It says, when the ungodly curses Satan, he curseth his own soul. When the ungodly curses Satan, he curses his own soul. It's the ungodly that believe that Satan is the enemy of the Most High God. So they curse him like their Christian slave masters taught them to do. But in doing so, they're cursing their own soul. Because not only is Satan in the employ of the Most High, but he's under the protection of the Most High. Satan is not Lucifer. The criteria to identify Lucifer.
Okay. So yeah, so you see right here where that word Satan means come against. You know, so what's being explained and being exposed is that like I was saying before, when you start talking about before Genesis 1:1, it's Lucifer. It's Lucifer is that, and what you have to understand, it's the Lord. He's saying that Satan is under the employment of the Lord, but he thinking it's Yahweh, but Satan under the employment of Yahweh. I mean, under the employment of the Lord of hosts. Michael is over the hosts, and so he the one that's sending him these things out. Just like we saw where he let me go get to it, because I don't want to just quote it. So I'm in Daniel. I'm in the book of Daniel. I showed you this before, but it might have slipped your mind. But it says in chapter 7. Let me get it. And you gotta get this because so in Daniel chapter 8, verses 1 through 14 he had a vision, and so we know how that works. As a man, the angel is the angel that brings the visions, and then once he had a vision, the prophets, our forefathers, understood that you have to wait for the interpretation. It's an angel gonna show up in the form of a man. He gonna make you understand what he gave you, what the dream was about. So Daniel chapter 8, 1 through 14, he got the dream. He had the dream. Then 15 says, and it came to pass when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. So he already was suspecting that. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of the Uliah, right? Which called and said to Gabriel, make this man understand. So not Yahweh. It says, I said, in 16, I heard a man's voice between the banks of Uliah, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man understand, right? And so he came near to where I was, and when he came, I was afraid and I fell upon my face. So then when he got to where he was at, he said, understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. So it's a man that called to Gabriel. We know it's got to be an angel because he commanded Gabriel. Well, when you understand the order, Yahweh, he was by himself. Then he created 7 angels. Well, the first one he created was Michael, El. The second one was Gabriel. So ain't nobody in between Gabriel and Yahweh but Michael. So Michael commanded Gabriel because he over the host. He over all the Most High's creation. Just like the Pharaoh put Joseph over all his creation, over all of Egypt. So Michael was the Lord of hosts. He the one sending Satan out. So Lucifer is trying to continue with Michael. You have to understand it. Not the Lord, not Yahweh. He got a problem with the position that the Most High placed Michael in the very beginning, and that's over all his creation. And and Michael got a throne. So he wants to usurp. He's an El. He's a strong one. Michael a strong one. Satan a strong one. And Lucifer got a problem with Michael and his position in the Most High's order of things. So I showed you in 16, he said, and I heard a man's voice between the banks of the Uliah, which called and said to Gabriel, right? Well, go to chapter 12. I'll show you who the man is. It says, chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, who is standing for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never since there was a nation, even at that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. So it tells you that Michael stood up, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. Some to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars of forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro and know, and knowledge shall be increased. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood the other two, one on this side of the banks of the river, and the other on the other side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall the end be? And so this man standing on the water is the Lord of hosts, Michael. And verse 7 says, and I heard a man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swore by him that liveth forever, it shall be for a time and a half a time. And when he shall have accomplished and scattered the power of the holy people, all these things it shall be finished. So you have to take this same setting right here. It's an angel on one bank of the river. They by the Uliah, just what the same place where Daniel was at. One on one side of the bank of the river, one on the other side, and Michael is standing in the middle of the water. So with that understanding, you go back to Daniel 8 and verse 15. And it says, and it came to pass when even I, Daniel, seen the vision, he by the river, and I sought for the meaning, and then behold, there was a man there. I stood before me as the appearance of a man, and I heard a man's voice between the banks of the river. We just saw in verse chapter 12, Michael standing between the banks of the river. He's standing on the water. Then it says, which called, this same man called to Gabriel, is Michael, the Lord of hosts, the man clothed in linen, to make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I was, Daniel on the banks of the river, and Gabriel on the banks of the river, Michael standing on the water. So go back to verse chapter 8, verse 1. In the third year of the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me, Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. 2. And I saw in a vision, but it came to pass when I saw that I was in Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam, and I saw in a vision, and I was by the river Uliah. Well, that's what these three angels had in Daniel chapter 12. One of them standing on the water, the man clothed in linen, Michael, Gabriel on one side of the bank of the river, and Uriel on the other bank. And so when Daniel had the vision, Michael called him, told Gabriel, go near unto him and explain the vision to him. So I said all that to show you that Michael is over Satan. Michael's sending Satan out. And Lucifer got a problem with Michael. Yahweh not even in the picture, because none of them can contend with the Lord of hosts. I mean, with Yahweh. So Satan is the El, a strong one. He's the prince. Satan the prince, and Michael a prince. But Michael is over in charge of everything. That's who Lucifer got a problem with. Okay. Anybody got?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Is Satan's name Samuel?
Now that's Lucifer's name.
Then what? Okay. The scriptures that you just shared, Are there scriptures where Michael is commanding Satan?
Well, if you look at it, if you look at what he was just showing you, he said that the Lord said unto Satan. So who was the Lord?
Michael.
Michael. So and then like I said, another thing you have to understand, Shem is Shem is Melchizedek, right?
I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you.
Shem is Melchizedek. Okay. Yeah, Shem. So Shem is Melchizedek. So but they don't tell you, they don't use Shem name. They say Melchizedek. They say that Abraham came to the king of Shalom, which is Melchizedek, right? They don't tell you his name. So we know because of the research and because of the Most High's guidance, we found out that Shem at the time when Abraham came on the scene in Shalom was Shem. Shem was Melchizedek. Well, it's the same. That's a title. So it's the same thing with Satan. Satan is a title, but it's an angel. But what they're not revealing to us is that whomever the Most High sends, because he tells you, I create evil and I create good. I do all these things. So if he sent a certain angel to go do something, like he did he sent an angel to go come up against David, what the brother just read. But he's coming against something that the Most High had a problem with. So he sent this angel. So he's saying Satan, but it's actually an angel, and he got a name. But that's what they're not revealing to us. That's what they're not giving us that understanding. They didn't create this. They used this word Satan and took it to the New Testament to make it look like it's an adversary to Jesus. But they're not breaking down the whole concept of how that works. That's a title, just like tempter. It's the same thing. That's not the angel name. He's tempting, but he's tempting somebody, but it's not his name. He got a name, but that's what they're not revealing to us. You know, it's whatever angel the Most High sent. He's Satan. He's coming up. He's an adversary to what's going on. He's coming up against. Most High sent him to come up against something that it could be Daniel, Paul, anybody. Daniel, Jeremiah, anybody, wherever they're going against. Contrary to what the Most High says, he sent an angel to come up against it, which means Satan. And so anyway, like I said, so the Lord of hosts is controlling all that, not Yahweh. He's the Lord over the hosts. So he's the one dealing with all these angels, not Yahweh. And because of that, that's what his name means. He who is like Yahweh. So that's who Satan got. That's what Lucifer have a problem with. He got a problem with the fact that the position that the Most High put Michael in, and he want to usurp himself over and against that. So, like I said, to give you a greater understanding, the temple that's in Yahweh got a temple in heaven because Michael is over there, and then at one time, Lucifer was over the praise and worship. He was the high priest, just like you have a high priest in the temple in Jerusalem, and you got the king. You had Michael and you had Lucifer, the two cherubs that's on top of the mercy seat that was over the temple in heaven. But sin was found in Satan; he was cast out. So that's what you have to understand. That so the temple that's in Jerusalem is Michael's temple, the Lord of hosts temple. They built a temple to him. That's what David said. You did all this for me and brought me here and built me a house. Now I want to build you a house. And the house he's talking about is the temple. So you say, what are you talking about? Well, we know that you got Baal worship. And that's been going on from the beginning of time, ever since Lucifer fell. He want to be worshipped. So Lucifer got a temple. The temple that these Canaanites keep on building it, and it's going to making these altars. It's an altar in the temple in Jerusalem, and Michael has showed them how to make the sacrifices, how to cut, what they have to do, what to cut, and what to put on the fire, and what not to put on the fire. Well, Lucifer has showed these Canaanites, and Japhet, his people, he showed them how to do the same thing, but make the sacrifice to him. Except they using children. And so that's why I showed you in here. Let me read it right quick. That's why I showed you in 2 Kings what Ahaz done. Go to Ahaz right quick. Go to 2 Kings chapter 16. So I'm in chapter 16, and it says, I'm starting at verse 1. And in the 17th year of Pecan, the son of Remaliah, Ahaz, the son of Jotham, king of Judah, began to reign. 20 years old was Ahaz when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem, and he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, his God, like David, his father. So he started out right. 3. But he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel, yea, and made his sons to pass through the fire. See that? You already see this Yahweh. This is not what Yahweh commanded. What the Lord of hosts commanded. He commanded animals, rams and goats and pigeons and all this stuff. And Lucifer is the one demanding children because he's wicked as hell. So he says, made his sons to pass through the fire. They wasn't doing it at first. According to the question that Gladys had earlier, they wasn't doing this at first. They was doing what was right. And then when they came to the land of Canaan and came in contact with these Canaanites, saw what they was doing, then the 10 tribes, that's what they're doing over there with the 10 tribes. Jeroboam got them doing it. That's why the Most High has a problem with Jeroboam. So it says, verse 3, 2 Kings 16, but he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel. They going up to the high places, and they sacrificing their children in the fire. Yea, and made his sons to pass through the fire, according to the abominations of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel. That's why he called them heathens, because they sacrificed their kids in the fire. That's a heathen. That's heathenistic. 4, and he sacrificed and burnt incense in the high places. See that? Lucifer up on the mountaintop. These fallen angels that came down and through the portals, they on these mountaintops. So he says, in high places and on the hills and under every green tree. Let me explain that, because somebody might learn something. So these oak trees, they believe that these evidently they was meeting these beings and these fallen angels under these certain trees, and so wherever they would see them at, they would make that a shrine or something. They was dealing with these angels. That's why when you see when Moses in chapter let me go there right quick. You go to Genesis 18 right quick. I'm gonna come back there in a minute. But if you go to Genesis 18, and so you gotta understand this, what's going on. So you go to Genesis 18, and I'm in verse 1. It says, and the Lord appeared unto him. See? So just like these angels, these righteous angels appearing to men, these fallen angels appearing to men, and wherever they appear to them at, under an oak tree or whatever, they make it a holy place. They make it into a shrine. So chapter 18 says that the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, right? So what's the plains of Mamre? Mamre is a fallen angel. He's a fallen angel. Then they didn't already idolize that place. So look, we're gonna keep reading. And he said, these 3 angels coming to Abraham, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day, and he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself toward the ground, right? And he said, my Lord, if I now have found it, my Lord. And he said, my Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee from thy servant. Watch this. Let a little water, I pray thee, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. See that? That's what they're talking about when they say grove worship. Because wherever they met these angels at, wherever this angel appeared to them at under this tree or whatever, they're going to turn that whole area into a grove and start worshiping and build all kind of stuff around it. So that's what he's talking about over here in 2 Kings 16. So it says, back in 16, 2 Kings chapter 16, I'm going to read verse 3 again. But he walked in the ways of kings of Israel, yea, and he made his sons to pass through the fire, according to the abominations of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel. And he sacrificed and burnt incense in the high places, and on hills, and under every green tree. See? So we're going to make it plain. 5. Then Rezin, king of Syria, and Pekah, son of Remaliah, king of Israel, came up to Jerusalem to war, and they besieged Ahaz, but could not overcome him. And at that time, Rezin, king of Syria, recovered Eloth and Syria, and drove the Jews from Eloth, and the Syrians came to Eloth and dwelt there unto this day. So Ahaz sent messengers to Tiglath-Pileser. So we see right here, y'all, he wicked as hell, and by what he was doing, he can't even think straight, because the Lord of hosts is his redeemer. The Lord of hosts is gonna fight his cause, but he goes to this king of Assyria for assistance, saying, I am thy servant and thy son. Come up and save me out of the hands of the king of Syria and out of the hands of the king of Israel, which raised up against me. And Ahaz took the silver and the gold that was found in the house of the Lord and in the treasures of the king's house, and sent it for a present to the king of Assyria. And the king of Assyria hearkened unto him, for the king of Assyria went up against Damascus, took it, and carried the people of it captive to Kir, and slew Rezin. So let me show you what's going on. So before this king of Syria came to him, he got an altar. He got an altar over in Assyria where he worshiping Lucifer. Baal is Lucifer. He got a temple and an altar he built, just like the Most High had the Israelites to build a temple to him. And they, like I said, they are making sacrifices to animals, like the Most High showed them, like they did in the very beginning when Michael sacrificed the sheep, and then he took the clothes from the ram and put them on Adam and Eve. So this king of Assyria, he got an altar to Lucifer, to Baal, and he done made sacrifices to him and prayed to him before he went out to fight. So he thinking that Lucifer the one causing him to win these battles. You have to understand that. Every time you look at Nebuchadnezzar and all them, they didn't make sacrifices and all that before they left on an altar in a temple to Lucifer. That's why they wicked as hell. So he says in 9, and the king of Assyria hearkened unto him, for the king of Assyria went up against Damascus, took it. So when he took it, he thanked Lucifer done it, right? And carried the people of it to captive to Kir, and slew Rezin. And the king of Assyria went to Damascus and met Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria. And King Ahaz went to Damascus and met I don't know his name, I can't pronounce it, Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and saw an altar. See this? That was at Damascus. This is the altar to Lucifer, right? It says, and the king sent to Uriah the priest at the fashion of the altar and the pattern of it according to the workmanship thereof. And Uriah the priest built an altar according to all that King Ahaz sent from Damascus. It says, and King Ahaz came to Damascus, and when the king was come from Damascus, the king saw the altar, and the king approached to the altar and offered thereupon. So you have to understand, just like the Israelites making all sacrifices and all that, Lucifer got an altar that he made. He had them show them how to make, and they making it all this. He know how to build an altar. He's over the worship and over the altar that was in heaven. He was cast out and he brought all that to the earth. So he got an altar just like Michael got an altar. Satan Satan at the one with the altar is Lucifer. Yeah, so I want to show you that you have to understand that in order to understand what's going on. So he told him he told him in Isaiah he's gonna make him worship. He's gonna raise his throne up up above Michael's throne. So in order for him to do that, he got to have a throne too, and he got to have an altar. He got to have a temple too. And so when you understand all this Satan's altar that's in that Satan temple that these Edomites built, Herod built. The temple that the Israelites built, the last one was Zerubbabel temple. So when you understand what's going on, the New Testament, that's Lucifer book. Our God is in the old. His book is in Tanakh. The temple that they got you telling Jesus came to, all that's Lucifer. They didn't cover it over and smooth it out and make you think it's something else. But all these people know what that is. These people, say Aleister Crowley and all them people, all these cult people, they know what that is. They know what the New Testament is. They know all it is. We're going to show you that in a minute. But yeah, so that's you have to understand that. That's what was done at the Council of Nicaea with Constantine. So the sun, Lucifer is the morning star. That's the sun. That's what the Egyptian was worshiping. The sun. That's Lucifer. That's why they gave the sun human characteristics. It's just that when the Greeks came and the Romans came, they took it out the sky and made it out of man, which is what in the New Testament. But that man is Lucifer. Let me show what I'm talking about. I mean, Isaiah. I mean, it might be burning your ears, but yeah. So anyway, Isaiah. So I just get an example is I just gave you when Daniel was by the banks and he got the vision. Then what happened? A man appeared unto him. In Genesis 18, what happened? 3 men came to Abraham. These angels appearing as men. It's a man in the New Testament, but they got you thinking it's Jesus. So, 16, 14, Isaiah 14 and 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? See that? Son of the morning. That's a morning star. That's the sun. How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nation? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mountain of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man? See that? No, ain't all the other angels appearing as men? Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms? There you go, right there. So, anybody got any comments on that? Before I play this other part of this that's going to connect the dots all the way. Anybody got any questions on what I just talked about?
So I want to get a better understanding of when you talk about Satan.
Right.
Okay, so you said Satan worked along with the Lord of hosts, right?
Right.
And Satan is a title.
That's a title, yeah.
Okay, so
angel with that title.
Okay.
Right. So we know that the Most High got I'm just gonna make it plain, but at Genesis chapter 10 at the Tower of Babel, he had 70 different languages. He confused it was one language at first, right?
Mm-hmm.
He compounded all the languages so that people would come together and try to do that again. So he compounded their languages and gave them 70 different languages, right?
Right.
Why 70?
Because it was
70 angels.
Different angels, right?
Those 70 angels. So to go a little further with that, he said that the 200 angels came down on Mount Hermon, but they were chiefs over 10, chiefs over 50, chiefs over 100. So you got these 70 angels, they 10 other angels that they over. He dealing with them because they chiefs. So it's 70 of them. They got different languages. I mean, they confound the languages. So we just gonna say those 70 angels is up around the Most High throne, right?
Okay.
According to what's going on, he says, Raphael, go and tempt David. Well, that's the title. Now Raphael is coming against David because the Lord of hosts sent him. He's Satan, but his name is Raphael. So in another time in history, he sent another angel when Saul, when he asked them, they sent him around and he said, which one of you want to go down and be a lying spirit under Saul? And one of them said, I'd go. They don't tell you his name. So just say it was Aziel.
Mm-hmm.
So he went down and became a lying spirit to Saul, but he was Satan. That's a title, just like Melchizedek is. But he got a name. You understand that?
Yes, I'm understanding better. Yes.
Right. So they didn't flip the understanding all around because they want to make you think it's Satan is a being that was there from the beginning, but they done that to uplift JC in the stories in the New Testament. But that ain't how it working. It don't work like that. Like the brother said, and I'm gonna show you that in a minute. And so when they did all that, it's totally taking the understanding and taking the focus off of Jesus,
right,
and what he's doing and the things he's saying. Like we starting to find out now that ain't no way in hell he's the Redeemer, because we know who the Redeemer is, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Yahweh. So what is this? When he talking about I'm the Father sent me, and when you see me, you see the Father.
Mm.
That's Lucifer. That's Lucifer. That's what he said. He's gonna lift himself up over above Yahweh. He's gonna be as God. Well, ain't that what the New Testament got Jesus as God?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
okay.
Anybody else got anything for a playlist? When he break it down, you're gonna be playing. I just laying the foundation.
Okay, so thank you.
We're gonna let it play.
Number one, he claims to be God. We can find this in Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 2 and verse 6. He claims to be God. In Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 2, we find the words, "Thou hast said, I am God." That's a claim to be God.
That's Lucifer.
We also find the words, "Yet thou art man and not God." Remember, we looked at all these spiritual beings, angels, that were called by the names of the princes of nations, the prince of the Greeks, the prince of Persia, for example. This is similar to the prince of Tyre that we're reading about now. In Daniel chapter...
That's what I was saying earlier. When you get to understanding, prince, same as El, same as strong one, and that's what when you understand all that, that's what Michael keep on hollering all through the Old Testament. I'm your El. They didn't put another word there like God and all these Lord, but it's El. All of them are El. That's why they got El on the end of their name. They all princesses. So when you understand that, the understanding started becoming plain. Satan a prince. I mean Lucifer a prince.
10, Daniel said that he saw a man. So these angels have taken the appearance of man, but they do not cease to be angels. So when it says, "Yet thou art man and not God," this doesn't mean it's not an angel. It just means this is not God. You are not the Most High God, though thou hast set thine heart as the heart of God. In verse 6 it says, thou hast set thine heart as the heart of God. So Lucifer is not God, he's an angel in the form of man, yet he claims to be God. Criteria number 2, he was a glorious creature in the beginning. We'll find that in Ezekiel chapter 28, verses 12 to 13. He was a glorious creature in the beginning. In Ezekiel 28, verse 12, we find the words, thou art a seal of resemblance and crown of beauty. Verse 13, we find, thou hast bound upon thee every precious stone, the sardius and topaz and emerald and carbuncle and sapphire and jasper and silver and gold and ligure and agate and amethyst and chrysolite and beryl and onyx. This is beauty. This is glory. This is a glorious creature. And remember in verse 13, it says, thou wast in the delight of the paradise of God. So in the very beginning, he was in the Garden of Eden, and he was a glorious creature.
So let's make it plain. So how many trees is in the garden? Hello?
2 trees.
2 trees, right? He said right here, this is how you connecting the dots. He said, Michael talking in Ezekiel, he says he saw him when he was falling. He saw Lucifer falling, and he said that he was a glorious creature. You was in the garden at one time, the garden of God. So when it's 2 trees in the garden, Lucifer is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. He's the wicked one. He's the one that caused the flood that I was telling you about. They coming back to in Genesis 1:1. They returning to the earth from what Lucifer done. So it's not a coincidence he showed up in the garden after the flood, after that first flood, because he was in the garden with Michael. Michael is 2 anointed ones, 2 anointed cherubs, just like it's 2 anointed ones in the temple in Jerusalem. So we see right here who it is. It's Lucifer and Michael was in there. That's why Michael can say what he's saying right here. Okay.
Criteria number 3, he is extremely proud. Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 2, verse 5, and verse 17. He is extremely proud. In Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 2, we find the words, thine heart has been exalted. That's pride. In verse 5, we find the words, thy heart has been lifted up by thy power. That is pride. And in verse 17, we find the words, thy heart has been lifted up because of thy beauty. So we know that Lucifer is extremely proud. Criteria number 4, he came down from heaven. Ezekiel chapter 28, verses 16.
Remember that. He came down from heaven.
Also Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. In Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 16, we find the words, thou hast been cast down wounded from the mount of God. And in verse 17, I have cast thee to the ground.
That's Michael.
In Isaiah 14, verse 12, it says this, how has Lucifer, that rose in the morning, fallen from heaven? And it also says that he is crushed to the earth. So we know that he came down from heaven. Criteria number 5, he pledged to go above the clouds and set his throne in heaven. That's in Isaiah chapter 14, verses 13 to 14. In verse 13 it says, thou saidst in thine heart, I will go up to heaven. I will set my throne above the stars of heaven. Verse 14, we find the words, I will go up above the clouds. So he not only pledged to go above the clouds, but also to set his throne in heaven. These are the 5 criteria that we will use to identify the real Lucifer. Once we've found the real Lucifer, we will know who the real enemy is. Lucifer, also known as the morning star, instructed his children to write the book called the New Testament, to lead the children of Israel into idolatry. They created a false god called Jesus Christ and forced the Israelites to worship and follow this idol. However, Lucifer's children also left many clues in the abominable New Testament so that their descendants could recognize their forefather Lucifer within its pages. Now, I am going to demonstrate that the fictitious...
So Lord of Hosts told us in the last days to find him in the scriptures. We know they took him out. They hooked with the scriptures. So he told us to find him in the scriptures, in the Tanakh. Well, Lucifer is in the new. And his children, when they read it, they spot it. They spot who it is. They know who it is. We just not getting around to it. They've been know
it. Jesus Christ's character is a clever disguise for Lucifer, the morning star himself. Revelation chapter 22, verse 16. Revelation chapter 22, verse 16 says this: I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. Jesus says, I am the morning star. In other words, I am Lucifer. Christians and Christian lights believe everything that Jesus Christ says, except when he says that he is Lucifer. So let us see whether Jesus Christ meets the Lucifer criteria. Number one, he claims to be God. Revelation chapter 1, verse 8. Revelation chapter 1, verse 8. Let's hear what Jesus Christ said. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is, and which was, and which is to come, the Almighty. So here Jesus Christ is claiming to be the Almighty God. There's only one Almighty, and that's the Most High God. And Jesus is claiming to be the Almighty, which means he's claiming to be God. Philippians chapter 2, verses 5 and 6. Philippians chapter 2, verses 5 and 6 says this: Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, verse 6, who being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God. So he's claiming to be equal with God. That makes him God. He's saying he's in the form of God, and it's not robbery. Only Lucifer would claim to be God and think that's not robbery. So take someone's identity and claim to be that person.
Right. So like I was saying earlier, see, when you see how this stuff coming off the page now, after you got the foundation, but Satan and the role they didn't put Satan in the New Testament cause you not to see this, because you're looking at Satan as the adversary. So you can't never see it. But it's broken down to you, and you see who's who, then you see exactly what's going on. And this is why your spirit, Israelite spirit, never really dealt with this, couldn't handle this. Coming to the light.
Christ is Lucifer. Criteria number 2. He was a glorious creature in the beginning. John chapter 17, we'll read verse 5 and verse 24. John chapter 17, verse 5 and verse 24. So this is what Jesus Christ says, according to the Christian fable. And now, O Father, glorify thou me with thine own self, with the glory which I had with thee before the world was. It is true that Lucifer had a glory with the Most High God before the world was. Before everything was established, Lucifer was created. and placed on the holy mountain of God. And now here he's asking, he's begging, please, Father, please, please give me the glory I had with you before the
world.
But the Most High already kicked him out. He's not going to go back. It's not happening. Verse 24. Father, he's begging again, Father, please, Father, I pray that they also whom thou hast given me be with me where I am, that they may behold my glory. The Most High did say he was a crown of resemblance. He was extremely beautiful when he was created. So he's begging, please, restore my glory that I had with you in the beginning. So all my Christian disciples could see how beautiful and glorious I was. That behold my glory which thou hast given me. For thou lovest me before the foundation of the world. And it's true, it's obvious that the Most High loved Lucifer because he created him a perfect being. But it's because of Lucifer's pride and iniquity that he lost it all. So he's gotten his children to write this book called the New Testament.
The Gentiles, the children,
the Most High God,
came from Cain.
Please, Father, restore my glory. Please, Father, love me like you did before the world began. Criteria number 3, he is extremely proud. Luke chapter 11, verses 37 to 47. Luke chapter 11, verses 37 to 47. And as he spake, a certain Pharisee besought him to dine with him. And he went in and sat down to meat. So as this Jesus Christ character was speaking, this Pharisee invited him to dinner. So he went and he sat down to eat dinner with this Pharisee. Verse 38, and when the Pharisee saw it, he marveled that he had not first washed before dinner. He was shocked, like, why are you not washing your hands? Verse 39, and the Lord, that's Jesus Christ, said unto him, now do ye Pharisees make clean the outside of the cup and the platter, but your inward part is full of ravening and wickedness. So instead of washing his dirty, stinking, nasty hands, he decided to attack his host. When someone invites you to dinner and they simply ask you kindly to wash your hands, you do not turn and start cussing them out and tell them,
The demons at work, the gremlins that went to work. Got a signal went out. OMG. This one. Back it up.
Outside of the cup and the platter, but your inward part is full of ravening and wickedness. So instead of washing his dirty, stinking, nasty hands, he decided to attack his host. When someone invites you to dinner and they simply ask you kindly to wash your hands, you do not turn and start cussing them out and tell them,
OMG. Okay, anybody got any comments? You want to see what happened? Get the signal back. Anybody got any comments or questions about what they heard so far? No comments, questions?
That's some serious business.
Oh yeah, it's some serious business. That's why I'm playing it. Yeah, it means, like I said, once the foundation is laid out, it's like, wow, this is crazy, man. But you know, we at the end, so it's not a coincidence this stuff coming out now. Yeah.
Right. Like I said earlier, every time I'm on a class, learning something new, because this is big, as you should say. Tie your shoes up. I'm like, wow.
Ain't that something?
Yes.
Right. Right. So this the Hebrews, forefathers, they weren't dealing with esoteric. So that's what esoteric tied me to him. You know, tied to you know, the coat and all that. From what I showing you how he been had altar. Wait, since he fell, he's been at an altar, running simultaneously, just like his children. It's right in the Bible in front of in our face. Cain's children, he got children right along with Most High children, Adam's descendants. So he's a duplicate of everything the Most High doing. And so I was looking at right here, when he started talking about occultists and Kabbalah and all that stuff, and I was showing you how Gnosticism and all those Hermeticism and Neo-Platoism and all that stuff there is tied to him and tied to the Greeks and the Romans. It ain't tied to us. Let me see if it's playing them up some more.
How wicked they are. Here we go. Only Lucifer is proud enough to behave like this. Christians miss this completely, but Lucifer's children understand what they're looking at. They're looking at their father, Lucifer. Verse 40, ye fools! The man only asked you to wash your hand. How does he become a fool? Did not he that made that which is without make that which is within also? What does it have to do with washing your hands? Verse 41, but rather give alms of such things as ye have, and behold, all things are clean. No, your nasty, stinking, dirty hands are not cleaned because you give alms. Just wash your hands, Lucifer. Verse 42, but woe unto you, Pharisees. He's calling destruction on the Pharisees. Why? Because he doesn't want to wash his dirty hands. For ye tithe mint and rue and all manner of herbs, and pass over judgment and the love of God. These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone. You shouldn't be leaving your dirty hands undone. Go and wash your stinking hands, Lucifer. Do you see this? This is pride. You don't go to someone's house for dinner and then cuss them out because they ask you to wash your hands. Verse 43, woe unto you, Pharisees, more destruction.
It's crazy.
For you love the uppermost seats in the synagogues and meetings in the market. What does this have to do with washing your dirty hands, Lucifer? Verse 44, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye are as graves which appear not, and the men that walk over them are not aware of them. Just wash your hands. I'm telling you, you don't need anything more than this to see that Lucifer is extremely prideful. Verse 45.
Yeah, like I was saying that says that originally a Jewish esoteric tradition probably began between the
And answered one of the lawyers. So there were lawyers present at this dinner, looking at Lucifer making a scene, and said unto him, Master, thus saying, thou reproachest us also. In other words, when you're cursing out your host, the Pharisee, you're also cursing us, the lawyers. No.
Yeah, so like I was saying before, it said that this esoteric tradition and all that started between the 2nd and the 4th century, but in the 12th century it publicly emerged in Southern Europe, concerned with the origins of the cosmos and the origins of man. So we see. I was showing you last night on the uncomfortable conversation with a non-Messianic Hebrew Israelite about Esau, and so I showed you where they was kicked out in 70 AD. The Israelites had left in 143 BC. They went into Europe, and he's telling you right here how that all this started in Europe. This after these wicked Edomites showed up over in Europe, which is tied to they're the ones tied to the occult and Kabbalah and all that stuff, which is wicked as hell, and the human sacrifice, all that they brought all that brought it to Europe. And then and they brought Baal worship over there. And then, like I said, when you understand, eventually, like I was showing you last night, they killed Julius Caesar in the Senate. But then you had 5, they call it the Julio-Claudian dynasty, which is 5 Caesars. They came right after Julius Caesar was killed. Well, they Edomites, and what they had been trying to put this sun worship, which is Baal worship, in bringing into Rome from the very beginning. None of them could succeed. They couldn't succeed with it. Then Constantine, they came with Constantine, and Constantine succeeded. He succeeded when he created Christianity, which is nothing but this what we're looking at now. Baal worship, which is Baal is Lucifer. Zeus is Lucifer. He just got all these different names, and according to the time and history and who he's dealing with. But when he fell from heaven from the very beginning, he started that. That's what all it is. He's behind all of it. And like I said, I showed you last night how he seduced Tubal-Cain. And so you say, what you talking about? Well, they made music. He said he showed Tubal-Cain how to make music, and then he showed him how to make drinks. And if he showed him how to make drinks, he showed him how to make these intoxicants, and how showed him these different plants that cause you to hallucinate. So why would he do that? Well, they would inflame. He said they inflame themselves with sin, and pump themselves up through music to do what? To sacrifice the kids. People in a normal state, they wouldn't sacrifice the kids. So he gave them these drugs and hallucinogens and all this stuff and the music, and so they would play the music, and so you wouldn't hear the baby crying when they're sacrificing the baby. But we don't fathom all that part of it, because all we doing is we just they didn't gave us this watered down version of what was going on. But I'm bringing it out in the open, so that's what all the music was about. He done brought all these different drugs and showed them where all these different plants said how to get high and get intoxicated, and then they were more easy to do those type of things, to kill the kids. And because of what they was doing was, the Most High tell the Israelites to get the fat and get certain parts of the animal burning on the fire, then cook the rest of it. Well, they doing the same thing with these babies. They getting parts of it, the baby burning it, and then they cooking the other part of it and eating it. That's where the cannibalism coming in at. But they don't want you to know all that. And so he not calling them wicked as hell for heathens just for the GP. He calling them that because of what they was doing and who they were. And so, like I was saying, ain't no way in hell he had no son to come and bring them into his fold, because they wicked as hell. When you get the gist of what they've been doing and what they still doing today, the same horrendous and wicked ass process they was doing back then, they're doing it now, but they're doing it in secure places, secret places where we can't see it. Because what we'll do is we'll act. We'll be forced to act if we see that kind of stuff, and who doing it, which is these politicians and presidents and all them. They're the ones doing this stuff, but we're not seeing it. So that's why we're not acting on it. We're not provoked to act, because they're doing it outside of our sight. Well, we're not seeing them doing it, but they're doing it. Yeah, let me see this thing play.
Oh, let's hear what Lucifer replied, verse 46. And he said, "Woe unto you also, ye lawyers." So, in other words, fire burn your lawyers, destruction to lawyers. Why? Because he doesn't want to wash his dirty hands. For you laid men with burdens grievous to be borne, and you yourself touch not the burden with one of your fingers. Verse 47. Woe unto you, for you build the sepulchres of the prophets, and your fathers killed them. Wow. If that's what Christians want to follow, I wish them luck. As I said, the children of Lucifer know that they're reading about their father when they read the New Testament. But the Israelites are the ones who have been deceived into thinking that they're following someone that the Most High sent. The Most High did not send this devil. Criteria number 4, he came down from heaven. John chapter 6, verse 38. John chapter 6, verse 38 says this: For I came down from heaven, not to do mine own will, but the will of him that sent me. So here Lucifer is telling us, look, I came down from heaven. The only thing is, the Most High never told us that he would send anyone from heaven. However, he told us that he kicked Lucifer out of heaven because of his pride and iniquity. You do the maths. Criteria number 5. He pledged to go above the clouds and set his throne in heaven. Acts chapter 1, verse 9. Acts chapter 1, verse 9 says this: And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. So here, Lucifer's disciples saw him going up on a cloud, just like he promised. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 10 says, He that descended is the same also that ascended up far above all heavens, that he might fill all things. So we have a confession in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 10, telling us that the same Lucifer that descended, that came down from heaven, is the same Lucifer that ascended up far above all heavens, that he might fulfill all the things that he pledged to fulfill. He said he would go up above the cloud, he would set his throne in the heavens, he would be like the Most High. So Ephesians is telling us that Lucifer has done what he said he would do. Revelation chapter 3, verse 21. Revelation chapter 3, verse 21, so this is Lucifer speaking. It says, To him that overcometh will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame, and am set down with my Father in his throne. So Lucifer wants to give us the impression that he overcame all these things that the Most High put to prevent him from coming back into the heavens. And now he's sitting down on the Most High throne. He says, I am set down with my Father in his throne. His throne is singular. He's sitting on the throne of the Most High, according to the garbage book called the New Testament. We can see clearly that the fictitious Jesus Christ character satisfies all the Lucifer criteria. That is because Jesus Christ is nothing but a clever disguise for Lucifer himself. In fact, no one else in the entire Bible satisfies the Lucifer criteria. Next point, Lucifer uses Satan as a scapegoat to hide his true identity. Luke chapter 10, verse 18. Luke chapter 10, verse 18 says this: And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven. So Lucifer taught his disciples that he saw Satan as lightning fall from heaven. But that couldn't be true, because Satan works for the Most High God and is protected by the Most High God. And if the Most High God had cast Satan from heaven, he would have told us. But instead, what the Most High said is that he cast Lucifer from heaven. So Lucifer is using Satan as a scapegoat to hide his own true identity. Revelation chapter 12, verses 7 to 9. Revelation chapter 12, verses 7 to 9 says this: And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angel fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, verse 8, and prevailed not, neither was their place found anymore in heaven. So Lucifer is claiming that some dragon and his angels were cast out of heaven. Verse 9, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan. So here he's using Satan again as a scapegoat. He says, Satan which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Now why is it the Most High never mentioned this? The only person that was cast out of heaven was Lucifer. And there was no fight, no war in heaven. The Most High said to the cherub, get rid of that idiot. I've had enough of him. And he was kicked out. It was as simple as that. We read in Ezekiel 28 that the cherub took him out from the stones of fire, and the Most High cast him from the mountain of God. That was it. There was no fight in heaven, and Satan is still exactly where the Most High placed him, doing exactly what the Most High asked him to do. Lucifer is a bold-faced liar. Now that we know that Jesus Christ is simply a disguise for Lucifer, we know that the real enemy is Jesus Christ, aka Lucifer. He is the one that deceived the whole world. He is the one that was cast out of heaven because of his pride. So just to be clear, this Jesus Christ character is fictitious. It's made up. It was written by the children of Lucifer in the abominable New Testament in order to deceive the children of Israel into worshiping and following Lucifer. But it was also written in such a way that the children of Lucifer, for generations to come, could read the New Testament and identify their father within its pages. We'll go back to Isaiah chapter 14 and Ezekiel chapter 28 to learn about the destruction of Lucifer and his children. Isaiah chapter 14, verses 15 to 22. Isaiah chapter 14, verses 15 to 22 says thus, "But now thou shalt go down to hell, even to the foundations of the earth." So Lucifer, aka Jesus Christ, will be going to hell. Verse 16, "They that see thee shall wonder at thee and say, This is the man that troubled the earth and made kings to shake." So remember, the man simply means that this being, this powerful creature, is in the form of a man. Just like in Daniel chapter 10, we learned that the angel that appeared to Daniel was in the form of a man. So this Lucifer is the man that troubled the earth, that made kings to shake, while claiming it was Satan that was causing harm. Verse 17, "That made the whole earth desolate and destroyed its cities. He loosed not those who were in captivity." To this day, Lucifer refuses to release those Israelites that are in captivity. Their minds are enslaved because they continue to worship him. They continue to follow him and to see him as a great teacher because of his disguise as Jesus Christ. Verse 18, "All the kings of the nations lie in honor, every man in his house." Verse 19, "But thou," meaning thou, Lucifer, "shalt be cast forth on the mountains, as a lost carcass, with many dead who have been pierced with swords, going down to the grave." Lucifer Christ will be put to death. He will go down to the grave, down to hell. Verse 20, "As a garment defiled with blood shall not be pure, so neither shalt thou be pure, because thou hast destroyed my land." So Lucifer is the one behind the destruction of Israel, the land that the Most High God has promised to his people, and has slain my people. Lucifer is the one that sent his children to enslave the Israelites from the west coast of Africa on the good ship Jesus. Lucifer Christ is the one who inspires his people to oppress the Israelites to this very day. Lucifer Christ is the one who has charged his people to deny the Israelites our heritage. Lucifer is the one who instructed his children to deceive the children of Israel so that we'll worship him instead of worshiping the Most High God. Many Israelites, Christianites, give lip service to the Most High God while following the teachings of Lucifer Christ in the New Testament. It continues, "Thou shalt endure forever." So whereas Lucifer says that he is the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end, the Almighty, which means that he will live forever and have great power. The Most High says to him, "Thou shalt not endure forever. Thou an evil seed." Not only is Lucifer an evil seed, but every one of his children is an evil seed. As Lucifer himself said, "An evil tree cannot produce good fruit." He is an evil seed, and his children are like him. Verse 21, "Prepare thy children," meaning your evil seed, "to be slain, put to death for the sins of their father." those children of Lucifer who enslaved the Israelites, who took us from West Africa on the good ship, Jesus, and there was nothing good about it. They were slain for the sins of their father. Those children of Lucifer who continue to oppress the Israelites to this very day, they will be slain for the sins of their father. It continues that they arise not and inherit the earth, nor fill the earth with war. Why? Because that's exactly what they do. The children of Lucifer are the ones who inherited the earth, which is not theirs. They are virus on this planet, and they fill the earth with wars. This earth would be a much better place had it not been for the children of Lucifer. Verse 22 says, and they will rise up against them. So the Most High is going to rise up against the children of Lucifer, says the Lord of hosts, and I will.
See what he said? He says that Lord of hosts. I mean, he said God Almighty is talking, but it's not God Almighty. It says, 22 says, and I will raise up against thee, said the Lord of hosts. Like I'm saying, I'm telling you, these two angels battling back. They can't contend with Yahweh. This is the Lord of hosts talking to Lucifer. And he ain't just met him. We know they was in the Garden of Eden. Lucifer, the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Will destroy their name and remnant and seed. Every child of Lucifer will be destroyed. Every evil seed will be destroyed. Thus saith the Lord. Let's go to Ezekiel 28, verses 18 to 19. Ezekiel chapter 28, verses 18 to 19 in the Brenton Septuagint reads thus. Because of the multitude of thy sins and the iniquities of thy merchandise, I have profaned thy sacred things. So this Christian church and the cross and all these things that they claim to be sacred, the Most High said those things are profane. Why? Because of the sin of idolatry. Lucifer, aka Jesus Christ, has committed a multitude of sins against the Most High and against his people. And the Most High said, your sacred things are abominable. They're profaned in my sight. And I will bring fire out of the midst of thee. This shall devour thee. Remember that Lucifer once dwelt in the midst of the storms of fire with the cherub. Fire did not hurt him. But now the Most High said, I'm going to bring fire out of the midst of you. The same fire that did not destroy you will now devour you. And I will make thee to be ashes upon the land before all that see thee. So,
okay, he said that Lucifer was in, he gonna say it a couple more times, but I'm gonna shine a light on it for people that's listening. He says that Lucifer was amongst the stones of fire with the cherub. Who was the cherub? What is the cherub?
Was is Satan is a cherub is an angel, right?
Archangel.
Archangel. Okay.
That's the 7 angels. But he said it just now. He's gonna say it a couple more times. But with the cherub, he with a cherub. So what's on the top of the mercy seat?
2 cherubs.
One of them is 2. 2 cherubs.
Yeah.
Who was one of them?
It's Satan.
Satan, one. Lucifer. One of them. They the 2 anointed ones in the beginning. So who the other one?
Michael.
There you go. So he keep on saying Satan with the cherub. So when we was in Daniel, when Daniel was dealing with Nebuchadnezzar, Daniel said he saw a watcher. What's a watcher?
An angel.
An angel. That's the watchers. They are lower class than the 7 angels. They was created, and these 7 angels instruct him. They watching mankind. Daniel said he saw a watcher come down from heaven with a holy one. The seven, ain't they holy?
Yes.
7 holy ones. Enoch tell you, the 7 holy ones. So he saw a watcher come down in Daniel with a holy one. And this saying Lucifer was with a cherub. Same thing. Who the cherub is? He keeps saying it's the Almighty. It's not the Almighty, it's Michael. Michael the cherub.
Question.
Okay.
Did you say that Lucifer is one of the cherubs on the mercy seat?
Yeah, it's 2 anointed ones. It's two anointed ones in the temple in Jerusalem. That's the Lord of Hosts temple. This is Aaron and David's seed, the king
Right,
and the high priest. Well, in the beginning in heaven, Satan was over worship. He was the high priest, and Michael is the commander over the army. The Lord of Hosts.
Okay, so what is the mercy seat? Maybe my understanding of the mercy seat is incorrect. So because I'm trying to understand what qualifies Lucifer to be anywhere near the mercy seat in the temple.
That's where he was at in the beginning. He fell from there. He lost that position. But in the beginning, he was over the worship.
But
He was the cherub that anointed. He was the cherub that anoints, the anointed one. He's the one who's the high. Right. So when that ark and what's in it, and the lid that's on top of the ark is the mercy is where the 2 cherubs at over the ark.
That's what I'm saying. If Lucifer is antithetical to Michael, how can he be on the mercy seat with him? As if because the mercy seat was a place where the Most High spoke to the nation.
Right, but he's there because of when the Most High created him, it wasn't no sin in him. Sin was found in him. But in the beginning, it was him and Michael. That's who was in the garden.
Okay.
And so when the Most High comes down in the Holy of Holies once a year to deal with the king and the high priest,
right?
He comes down. He comes down over the mercy seat in between the 2 angels.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I just need to keep listening.
But it's Lucifer or Jesus Christ will be made ashes, some God. This is what Christians choose to worship. This is what Christians choose to follow as their idol. The Most High will destroy Lucifer, aka Jesus Christ. Verse 19. And all that know thee among the nations shall groan over thee. You see, Lucifer is well known among the nations, yes, by another name, right. Jesus Christ, but he's well known. And when the Most High destroys him with fire and his ashes, the people that know him among the nations, they'll be groaning and moaning, not my Jesus! But it will be too late. Thou art gone to destruction, and thou shalt not exist anymore. So just like we've learned that the children of Lucifer will not exist anymore, Lucifer himself will not exist anymore. So the nation will be groaning or mourning over Lucifer because they think that they are worshiping and following Jesus Christ. And they will be in shock and disbelief when they find out that they have been worshiping and following Lucifer all this time. You will encyclopedia under the heading Jesus of Nazareth. This is what it says. Jesus Christ is Christianity's central figure, both as Messiah and for most Christians as God incarnate. Muslims regard him as a major prophet, and some regard him as the Messiah. Many Hindus also recognize him as a manifestation of the divine, as do Baha'i believers, while some Buddhists identify him as a bodhisattva. So what we're learning here is that Christians worship Jesus Christ. Christian-lights, which are those other Christians, see him as their Messiah. Muslims see him as a major prophet, and some as the Messiah. Hindus see him as a manifestation of God. Baha'i believers see him as a manifestation of God. Buddhists identify him as a bodhisattva, which is some great spiritual leader and teacher. So all these different religions, what they have in common is that they follow Jesus Christ to some extent. And this is why these nations are going to mourn. Because whether they were Christians or Muslim or Hindu or Baha'i or Buddhist, they're following this Jesus Christ character, which is actually a disguise for Lucifer. And they're going to be in shock. Earlier, I proved that Isaiah 14 is a future prophecy that has not yet been fulfilled. Now I will do the same for Ezekiel chapter 28. And naturally, as it is a parallel passage for Isaiah 14, it also is a future prophecy that has not yet been fulfilled. Ezekiel chapter 28, verses 25 to 26. Ezekiel chapter 28, verses 25 to 26, in the Brenton Septuagint, says this: Thus saith the Lord God, I will, future tense, also gather Israel from the nations. Israel has not yet been regathered, so we know this has not happened yet, among whom they have been scattered. We're still scattered among these nations. And I will, future tense, be sanctified among them. The Most High is not sanctified amongst all Israelites, because there are many Israelites who still don't know they're Israelites, and there are many Israelites who choose to sanctify Lucifer as Jesus Christ instead of the Most High God. They simply give lip service to the Most High God while following Lucifer, aka Jesus Christ. So we know yet, and before the peoples and nations, it will be sanctified before all nations. And they shall, future tense, dwell upon their land. If you are an Israelite listening to the sound of my voice, and you're not dwelling in the land of Israel in peace and ruling the world, you know this has not happened yet, which I gave to my servant Jacob. Verse 26, yea, they shall, future tense, dwell upon it safely. The few Israelites that are in the land of Israel are not dwelling safely today. So this has not happened yet. And they shall, future tense, build houses and plant vineyards and dwell securely when I shall, future tense, execute judgment on all that have dishonored them. Lucifer and his children have not yet been punished for destroying the Most High's people. The other nations that enslaved and oppressed the Israelites have not yet received the judgment that is due to them. So we know that this has not happened yet, even on those that are round about them. And they shall, future tense, know that I am the Lord their God. I am is singular. None of this Trinity nonsense about three in one. Three is not one. I am. The Most High God alone is. He said, I am their God, not Jesus Christ, and the God, singular, of their fathers. We have learned that Satan is not the same being as Lucifer.
Okay. Any comments? Any comment? Yeah, so I'm getting ready to close out. When you look at that situation where we at today, like he just was saying, and tying this to what was revealed yesterday on the lesson last night with Esau, these is very people, the Canaanites that was going up in the high places, and Japhet, which is Lucifer's seed, is exactly where Esau went. That's who Edom is. Esau mingled intermingled with the Canaanites and Japhet, and both of them is Baal worshipers. They worship Baal. Baal is Lucifer. Baal is Horus. Baal is Zeus. Same character. Like I said, they're all idol worshipers. And so when you understand that, because of our forefathers could never disconnect ourselves from that, kept on following what they was doing, we ended up over here. And it tells us in Deuteronomy 28 that we're going to be cast out among the Gentiles and the heathens, and there we're going to worship another God, not him. This the other God he's talking about right here with the brother just got through breaking down. Not him. But you know, the average person, that goes over their head because they've been brainwashed and institutionalized. They're not seeing it for what it is. So he says he's gonna kick us out of the land, tear the temple down, and run us out the land, and wherever we go, we're gonna worship other gods because he done gave us up. We're not gonna worship him. And then on top of that, he didn't mention nothing about no son. He said he's gonna kick us out, and he's gonna hide his face from us, and he's gonna worship another god, pick up the habits of the people of the heathens and the Gentiles. And that's exactly where we at. So, any comments before I close out, or remarks, or questions?
Yeah, I want to go ahead and ask my question. And I was asking you, about the before Genesis 1 and 1. I wanted to know if you felt that information from before Genesis 1 and 1 exists upon this earth, and if it does, do you think that that will be information that we will come into eventually? And also, if those things have a bearing on what we are experiencing today.
Right. Yeah. The information is already here. It's just that, like I was saying before, when the Israelites do sacrifice, and the sacrificial animals, they go hand in hand with the Israelite. That's why he took them away. That's why we don't have no herds now, because he don't want us worship. He hid his face from us. Well, same thing with our scriptures. All the scriptures, Joshua wrote a book, Enoch wrote a book, all those books was passed down, and our forefathers kept them all the way to the time when Israel got scattered, and the Gentiles came into our land, and our books was laid open to them. They got those books, but they, just like we were scattered as a people, our records were scattered, so they all over the place. So it's ludicrous to say all you need is the 1666 books in the King James, because that's watered down versions of what the Gentiles have done. But our other books is scattered all over the place in different stories. Just like they stuck a bunch of our information of Daniel. A lot of history of Daniel was in Revelations, but you have to have an eye for it. So the reason I'm saying that was in occult worship, they keep on talking about Saturn this and Saturn that. Well, before Genesis 1 and 1, was all the planets was in operation. They're not in operation now because he shut it down. We saw in Genesis 1 and 1, he only returned to the earth. So why is these people worshiping Saturn so much? That's where Satan was at. He was on Saturn. That's why the Egyptians lining everything up to all these stars and lining these pyramids up to all this, because of these fallen angels, they came from up there. That's who dictating everything to them. And they know what happened before that. So you got to ask yourself, why we can't get to Venus? It's some kind of toxic gas around Venus. The Most High ain't created like that. It's something happened. The reason it's like that. It's something there. He don't want you there. He don't want you there. All those other planets got, they're not inhabitable because he made them like that. When he destroyed the system that he had in place before Genesis 1 and 1. And the Bible plainly tell you he returned to the earth. But he didn't return to the other planets. So you had supernatural beings that was working the whole galaxy was working. And he was the angels, these supernatural beings, they can travel and go places where we can't go. And so Satan was set up on Saturn. And then when the Most High came and judged what they was doing, that's when he cast him down. And then he put all this, he caused all these places not to be inhabitable no more. And a prime example of that is, look at our land. Yeah, we don't have no resemblance of the land that he gave us. We know it was flowing with milk and honey. And then David and Solomon and all this, like that, gold all over the place and all different types of metals and everything else. But we don't see no resemblance of that now because he cast it off. Well, that's what he did with those planets. He cast them out. All this happened before Genesis 1 and 1. But they got it over first of all, they got it locked down in the Vatican, down in the basement of the Vatican, and they also have it in the other stories. Like in so-called folklore with the Greek folklore and all this stuff with the people telling you about Kronos and Zeus and all that. It's in those stories, but you have to be able to rightly divide what happened and understand what went down. Yeah. Did that help?
That helped a lot because it made me think about all the stories that we see today that we think is just of somebody's great imagination, like the ETs and other creatures, mythical creatures and things like that. So now it lets me know just where they came from.
Right. I mean, like a prime example is Hollywood when they created ET. Well, all you gotta do is look at Akhenaten. Look at Tutankhamun. They got long necks just like that. And then I was telling you about those Raphaim is where the Philistines came from. That's a group of giants that was in the land, and they was more hostile. They're the ones that had a serious problem with Israel. That's the reason why the Philistines had a problem with them. They had the long necks. But they come and bring you ET, and you think there's some kind of fictitious character that they come up with, but they got that from somewhere. Because like I said, look at Akhenaten and Tutankhamun. And look at the head. They had those crowns on their head for a reason because they had elongated heads. Those crowns covered it up and made them look human. But they had elongated heads and long necks, serpent-like necks.
So you stated that all of the planets at one time were in use. Do you think that all the beings from the different planets at one time were in communication with each other? As far as like when you see in the movies where they visit the different planets and they have the beings, but most of the time when you go to the different planets, they're not friendly beings. So do you think at one time, with it being God's creation, that we were in touch with each other?
Well, it's when you rightly divide the scriptures, he tells you it's angels up there. It's only angels up there. They just said the whole solar system was in operation, but it's only angels up there, and then these angels, they got the ability to shape shift and show themselves all different type of ways. And then we know that these angels came down to the earth and started tampering with the most high creation. Messing with the DNA with animals, cross breeding animals and all that. It's a lot of stuff that's on the planet that we dealing with on the planet now. The Most High ain't had nothing to do with it. They was cross breeding. They was highly intelligent beings. They was messing with the DNA and mixing it all up and coming up. That's why you had all these crazy looking creatures that they talk about in the scriptures. And so, who's to say that they didn't do the same thing out there in space?
Okay, so if maybe some of the fallen angels came from some of those planets, that would kind of explain why uh, they are in the state that they're in now, so that they don't have an option to go back.
Right. And then it's not. It really has nothing to do with us. It's the Most High judgment. And then you have to understand that, like I was saying before, when Michael showed up in Egypt, it says that's when he got his name. He got a name for himself. That's when the people found out who he was. So we know that couldn't have been the Most High. So we're in the same predicament now. We keep on confusing our Redeemer and our Savior with everything else but who he really is. It's going to come a time when he's going to be identified for who he was. Well, that's what happened back then. He was second in charge, and they didn't want to. Satan had a bunch of angels with him. They didn't want to acknowledge him, and they didn't know the power that he had. He showed them the power. That's why the earth right now got a wobble in it. It's going to go back to that same time. He showed them what kind of power he had. They pushed him to the point where he showed them power, how much power he really had. The Most High had given him, and so them planets up there for a witness. It's beings that these angels can't die. So it's up there right now for a witness. What he capable of doing? They're looking right at it. It's like he said in the beginning, the sun and the moon, everything you look at up there is a sign of who he is, a witness. But we know, like I said, who goes out at night, or who in the daytime when they're in the park looking up and looking up at the sun and acknowledging the fact that what the Lord done and attributing it to him. They ain't doing that. But it's gonna come a time when our forefathers knew that, but it's gonna come a time when that's gonna all be revealed again. Yeah. Anybody else? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say thank you, because that makes me think just how deep things are, and that we just scratching the surface. So
Right.
things are, that's a really, really deep bowl of stew there.
Right. Exactly. Anybody else? Nobody else? Okay, so I'm gonna read something out of here, and I'm gonna close. I'm in Second Ezra, and he has the Most High, the Lord of Hosts, that came and explained to Ezra about what's going to happen in the very end, and we seeing signs of the end now. And so what he told him in chapter 11 of Second Ezra, starting at verse 36, he says, "Then I heard a voice saying unto me, look before this the Lord host talking to Ezra, look before you and think about what you see. And I looked, and behold, what seemed to be a lion rose up out of the forest. And I heard how he uttered a man's voice to the eagle, and spoke, saying, Listen, and I will speak to you. The Most High says to you, Are you not all that is left of the four animals that I made to reign in my world, so that through them the end of my times might come, and you are the fourth to come. and you have conquered all the animals that are past, and you have held the world in subjection, in great terror, and the whole earth with harsh oppression, and you have lived so long in the world with deceit, and you have not judged the earth with truth. You have persecuted the meek and hurt the peaceable. You have hated those who tell the truth and love lies, and you have destroyed the dwelling of the fruitful, torn down the walls of those who did you no harm, and your insolence has reached the Most High, and your pride, the Mighty One. And let me read that again. And your insolence has reached the Most High, Yahweh, and your pride, the Mighty One, as Michael. And the Most High has looked as at his times, and behold, they are ended, and his ages are completed. Therefore you will surely disappear, you eagle, and your dreadful wings, and your wicked additional wings, and your malignant heads, and your cruel talons, and your whole worthless body, so that the whole earth may be free from your violence, and be refreshed and relieved, and hope for the justice and mercy for him who had made her. And it came to pass while the lion was saying these words to the eagle that I looked, and behold, the head that was being lifted up, that had been left disappeared, and the two wings which had gone over to it lift themselves up to reign, and their reign was short and full of uproar. And I looked, and behold, they also disappeared, and the whole body of the eagle was burned, and the earth was panic stricken. Okay. Okay. Got gremlins all over the place today, man. Okay, I'm gonna say shalom, everybody. See y'all Monday.
Monday, Saturday.
I mean, yeah, in the morning.
Yes.
I'm thinking it's
Yes.
Saturday. I'll
Okay.
see y'all morning at 9 o'clock for the Sabbath class.
Yes. Yes.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom, everyone.